Hi, welcome to For the Culture Canada, the center point of art and entrepreneurship. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just want to make sure that you know to follow us on For the Culture Canada podcast on all of our major streaming platforms and also on Instagram as well. Thank you. Now let's get back into it. So today I'm interviewing somebody that was recommended to me by a good friend of mine named Mark. Her name is Deidrean. She runs Deliberately, which is a online shopping and retail outlet which sells motivational t-shirts and also promotes a positive life and gives you sort of guidance on where to go, how to be, if you find yourself to be in a position that needs the support. It's very cool to have her finally on my show. Thank you so much for being here. I've been seeing the support that you've been giving me online. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and I am more than happy to support such a venture.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Now, before we get into sort of like exactly what you do, I wanted to actually get into your history a little bit. So where'd you come from, and how did you get to the place that you're at right now?
So I'm Jamaican by birth, and I've been living in Jamaica for most of my life until I decided to move here. What prompted me to move here? I just got up one day and decided that I wanted to try something different. I wanted to try somewhere new. So I did my requisite research. Kelowna seems like a good place to start, where winter temperatures would not freeze my ass off, being from a Caribbean island. So that was the number one push, and it just seemed like a good place to start. So I decided, and I did it, literally. Yeah, you know what? My outlook is that the world is too big a place to spend all of it in one location.
Yeah. So
choose, decide, and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also mad props for being an immigrant and heading over here and doing your thing. Because I know the struggle. Like my parents, I know the struggle for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting journey so far.
Yeah. And when did you move here?
So September will actually make 2 years since I've been here.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
And funny thing is that you and I were actually in classes together looking out in college.
Yes.
Yeah, we were taking organizational behavior.
Absolutely,
At OC. And so was your plan to go to school here? Was that what your initial plan was, to come here and do school?
Yeah, so that was one of the starting points. Like, that was the starting point. So, I did OC, or I'm doing OC, doing a business diploma with focus on marketing. So, yeah, currently seeing that through right now.
Right. Yeah. What do you ultimately want to do with that?
So I feel like where the world is going right now, it's definitely an entrepreneur's dream. Any and everything is possible. And I believe that if it is that you have the skills and the foundation, then your springboard is like monumentally greater to push whatever your dream, whatever your aspiration, whatever it is that your project is further. So I've always had an interest in marketing. I feel like it's something that I'm naturally good at. So it's about having the theorem behind it. What can I do with that? Everything.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on what do I want to do with it.
Yeah.
Do I want to do business? Do I want to be a consultant? Do I want to help someone with that? Like, anything it is that you could think of,
right, I
could spin that.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. That's fair. And so from that, I wanted to ask you, how did you start Deliberately, and where did that come from?
So Deliberately started not as an online boutique, but the hashtag Deliberately kind of just came from truths that I had that I decided to share on Instagram. Just from my own personal experiences, or just from observations that I made in life, just from around me. I would just spew my truth, and I call them D's musings as another hashtag. And, it was just mostly to encourage, just to share things that I thought were positive or inspirational, because people are going through so much that we don't know about. And until it is that you say something, then people are able to relate to that. So it was just more, hey, whatever it is that you do this deliberately. right? A play
Yeah.
on the word deliberately, but
Yeah.
deliberately, coming from me. Like, live deliberately. Whatever it is that you do, your actions, your words, your thoughts, do it deliberately. And then from that, it just kind of spiraled to, hey, let's not just put it on a social media platform, but how about we put it on clothing so that people can express this vibe, people can wear this vibe, hence now I have branched out to the hashtag say it deliberately or say it intently, live intently, because I think that whatever it is that we do, we should do it deliberately or with a certain level of intent.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I personally do subscribe to those types of thinking anyway, right? Just being able to do everything intently and making sure that you do it as you want it to and not being sort of like double-minded on it is
Exactly.
a great way to be.
Yeah,
You know,
and
when
not
you're
being guided by other people's perception of who you should be or what you should be doing. No, like, stay true to you. I'm a huge proponent. I'm a huge supporter of individuality and
Yeah.
uniqueness. Like, you have to do you first. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I believe in that too. And you have a lot of these thoughts written down on t-shirts that you now sell.
Yes.
And the funny thing is that you weren't actually into wearing t-shirts in the first place on like an outdoors or just sort of out sort of thing. You said it in a blog post actually, called Rise of the T, Oh, the Irony.
Yes.
So explain that a little bit.
Okay, so where it is that my fashion sense is, back in the day, growing up, as a '90s kid, like, t-shirts were the big things. You roll up the sleeves and kind of tuck them under, and baggy jeans and platform shoes kind of thing. And that was okay. And then my style morphed, and it was just like, oh, these cute little blouses and jeans and shorts and dresses. So I never really gravitated to t-shirts unless it was, you're just lounging in the house, or, you're doing stuff around the yard or going to the gym. Like, that was the extent of my wearing t-shirts, but then as it is that this project grew, I'm just like, it's more about opening up your mind and yourself to the different looks that there are without kind of relegating t-shirts to, oh, no, I only do this for this. No, it's about how it is that you perceive a look and how best you can achieve it by dressing it up or adding accessories to make it the look that you want it to be. So my focus shifted where that is concerned, and it had to, because then I cannot be a supporter or marketer for something that I don't believe in. Like, if I'm not doing it, how can I expect, or how could I be telling someone to do this?
Yeah, of course.
You know
It's
what
not
I'm saying?
sincere that way.
It's not sincere, right? So as this shift occurred, then this project grew from a wholesome place, So yeah.
That's awesome. And you have a few different things on your shirts.
Yeah.
So one of which is like on some Queen shit. I really like that one. It's so dope. I'm not gonna lie. I like that one a lot. There's Focused AF, and there's some that are in other languages. Or sorry, it's in Jamaican dialect,
It's in Patois, yeah. So that's
Patois,
our Jamaican dialect. Yeah.
Excuse my ignorance. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
And this one apparently has a swear in it, a censor. Boosie na Ross.
Okay, so in Jamaican dialect, that's Bosinaras.
Oh, yeah, I'm really bad with pronunciation of that kind of stuff.
That's okay, that's Jamaican dialect, So the phrases are a mix of English, so to speak, and Jamaican dialect. Jamaican dialect paying homage to the fact that I am Jamaican, and just that I'm not trying to limit the market that I'm reaching out to.
Yeah.
So Bosinara. So Bosi is something, it's a word in Jamaican dialect that could be, it's equivalent to boastful.
Okay.
Right? But we just say Bosi. But not boastful in the way of being
showy.
Yeah, not showy, not gaudy, but more in the sense of taking pride in who you are, what you're doing, how you look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, boasting a Ras. Ras is kind of swear. not really, but like a mild swear in Jamaica.
Really? What does it mean?
You know what? Our swear words in Jamaica can take on any. It could be a noun, an adjective, an
Okay.
adverb, a verb. You know, it
Okay.
just kind of depends on the context, but it would be equivalent to AF. You know, like you said.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a point of exclamation, so to
Oh.
speak. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more the meaning. Like, you know, you could say, yo, I'm focused in ass or I'm boast in ass. You know, like it could be anything, but it's just a point of yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, and I wanted to get a little bit more of an explanation on "I'm sorry." I quote as from Canada. What's up with that?
Okay, so one of the quips that I constantly hear being here in Canada, or even that I've seen advertisements make a play on, is that Canadians are very polite and they apologize for everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? So that quotation, it's "I'm sorry, Canada," meaning I'm sorry, all of Canada.
Oh,
like
okay.
Canada is sorry for everything. And they're sorry.
Alright.
Like I remember I was at church one day and it was Canada Day, and they're like, "Oh, you know you're in Canada when it is that the buses apologize for being out of service. I'm sorry." Out of service. And I'm just like, oh my days. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody starts walking in before you through a doorway and like, oh no, I'm sorry. You come on in. You know, the wind blew the paper off. They're close by. Oh, I'm sorry. It's really okay. It's okay.
yeah. Dope.
You know, so that was just a play on the culture
Yeah,
for Canada. You know, I'm sorry, Canada.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I like that. You seem to have a very cultural edge to a lot of the stuff that you do here.
You know what? It's always about being conscious about the culture that you're in while not losing sight of the culture that I'm from,
Right.
and having to balance that. You know, it's a fine line of working within the culture and keeping your own culture alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about getting lost and or forgetting. It's about really having both of them together and operating as such, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think that's important for people that are maybe not born in another country, but their parents are. I think it's important that, because that's me. I'm first generation here in Canada. And I think it's important for us to stick to our roots, even though it's great to live in Canada. It's great for us to be here and the opportunities are fantastic. But there's a certain respect that we should pay to our heritage, because it's the only one that we have, right? I mean,
Yes.
you're gonna get that's the whole thing about Canada. It's right, build on all these
On
different
all of
heritages
these different-
for us to cooperate and work together, which is nice. It's what separates us from like the States.
I know, right? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also have another shirt, which you're wearing now, which stands for forwarding all issues to heaven.
Yes.
So what's
Faith.
Yeah, what's the inspiration for that?
So this shirt that I do have on, Faith, it's part of the Blackout collection, what I call the Blackout collection, and it's more the inspirational or the motivational aspect of the boutique. Just shirts, words that are punctuated with so much power that they tell you or they enable you or they pulse with the kind of vibe that you're feeling. So be it faith, be it unapologetic, be it focused, whatever it is just a standalone word that's only on a black shirt, just to create emphasis that, listen, this is it. This is my vibe today.
Right.
Because with starting this boutique, I am, in being a huge supporter of individuality, I feel like you should be able to show and wear your vibe, whatever that vibe is. So fine, you have all these different platforms that you could post, or you could do a video, or, you know, you do a phone call to your friends or whatever. But sometimes it's also very satisfying to portray your vibe
Yeah.
without having to verbally elicit this is my vibe. So if you have a t-shirt on, Faith, like, this is a vibe, this is a mood that I'm in today. I'm wearing my vibe. You know what I'm saying? Unapologetic about whatever I might be doing in that moment in this day. Like, I'm unapologetically me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just standalone words on a black t-shirt, hence Blackout Collection, that just kind of punctuate what your vibe or mood is.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't had a chance to look into every single thing that you have done.
Yeah.
Do you have other collections that sort of provide emphasis in one way or another?
So outside of the Blackout Collection, then there is the Yad Collection, which is more speaking to like the Jamaican dialect, which is more for the Jamaican culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So whether it is that you are from Jamaica or you just want an association, whatever it is, we have phrases that are punctuated. So, boast in a ass or bill. In Jamaican culture, when you say bill, it's just like, and it's not BUILD, it's more like BUIL, leaving off the D.
Okay.
And you're more just encouraging someone, just calm down. Like, just bill.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's like, just calm down.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and outside of those two collections, it's just women and or men's collection, just things that people can associate with. Or the AF collection, savage as, focused as, and again, it's just punctuating whatever your vibe is on a particular day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So you started this sort of movement, you started this intention and hashtag and all these shirts and everything as well. Now, where do you necessarily see Deliberately going?
So this right now is just a foundation where I would want it to go, or where I want it to go. The possibilities are endless.
I see.
But definitely I see it morphing into, say, a fashion lover's place to express themselves, to get inspiration, to get motivation. Not just for your vibe, but whether it is that you want help to get dressed for a particular event. Styled by D is something else that I'm working on too, where I will be working as a personal shopper.
Okay.
Yeah, so whether it is that if there's an outfit that you see me with or something and you're like, hey D, where'd you get that from? Like, I could source that for you. Are you wanting to go somewhere? What's the look that you want to achieve? I have some ideas that could work well for you.
Right.
So definitely more along the lines of fashion. Another aspect to it is definitely building the motivational path of it to it. I find that for the snippets that I've posted, like videos that I've posted on my personal page, I get so many messages that people are like, listen, the fact that you said that today, like, thank you, and I am humbled by that kind of response because it means that my truth is also someone else's truth. It means that my observation is seeing someone, just out there in the masses that is actually going through that. And if it is that they can pull motivation, if they can pull positivity from anything that I've said, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like? I'm good. So there are definitely different paths to it. So it's just about maybe coalescing them into one big entity after a while. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, I understand. So this is basically a foundation right now, and you want it to turn into something much, much bigger.
Absolutely, yeah. Because then added to that, I know you don't know this, I also have a page called Adorn Trinkets where I make beaded bracelets.
Oh, there you go.
So it's about just it's definitely, pushing forward good vibes and allowing people to express how they might feel in a way that they don't have to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling today. Like, dress how you feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you dress how you feel, people see that. You know what I'm saying? People understand, they get an understanding of who you are, your personality, when it is that you dress a particular way. You know, often though it can be misinterpreted, but as long as you are confident and comfortable in yourself and what your truth is, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I think when it comes to fashion and fits and stuff like that, it all depends on your confidence in terms of how well you can pull it off.
Yes.
You know, there'd be something really loud, something really crazy that you put on. And as long as you're confident in it and you have the sense to know what works with what, you can often pull it off.
Yes.
I find.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I think that's the case for a lot of people too. It's not just me, it's not just you, but a lot of people I think can attest to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really sweet. So you have a very fashion forward edge to what you're doing then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you think you'd want to eventually get into something as massive as maybe going up as high as a Kate Spade or like just any other sort of fashion name brand where you just sort of create your own collection that goes beyond beads, that goes beyond fashion and all that kind of stuff, or t-shirts and whatnot?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. You know, there's never a limit on what it is that you can do. It's about what your creativity allows, and your only enemy is always yourself. You know what I'm saying? So if I want it, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's also for entrepreneurs, it's also about remembering that everything takes time.
Yeah.
You know, I could come up with this thought, or I will have this thought today. It doesn't mean that within a year it's going to happen. Or it could absolutely happen in 6 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like I am always open and accepting to anything that the universe will bring my way. You know, there are no obstacles, there are no blockages that I will put on myself or in my path.
Yeah,
So,
that makes a lot of sense. Very cool. Yeah. So do you have any upcoming projects in the works right now, or are you just sort of focusing on getting yourself ready back into school, or what do you have coming up?
So what I do have coming up, what I'm working on is something for fall.
Okay.
Where clothing is concerned. So definitely, dropping phrases and relatable words on sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts. It's not just about t-shirts, because then when the weather drops, I'm sorry, like for me, I know I will not be wearing t-shirts in October. Listen, I know I will not be wearing t-shirts in October. So it's about, it's about, tying it all together, but having that consistency of bringing and pushing the message forward, right across seasons.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, school, we'll see. But yeah, definitely something to finish. Whether it is that I'm going to do that immediately or just push that back a little bit, we're yet to see. But but the focus is really just trying to build and, market what is happening right now.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, I wanted to also ask you, did you have anything particular you wanted to say out there? Anything on your mind, any messages you wanted to get across for our listeners?
One of my constant messages that I will continuously and consistently spew, it's be deliberate in your actions, live intently. Whatever consequences or whatever reactions there are from actions that you've done, be man enough, be woman enough to own up to them and know that these are consequences or, these are outcomes to decisions that you have made. Once it is that we can accept that and forgive ourselves for things that we think we did wrong or bad decisions that we've made, we are at much more peace to move forward and to just stand and live in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? Like, be comfortable in yourself, be confident in your uniqueness. It's necessary. It is important for self-growth. And without self-growth, then we're stunted always. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. I noticed that you were saying whether you're man enough or woman enough. Do you have I know that, my first impression of Deliberately is that you were making very women forward type fashion and apparel and clothing. But I also noticed that you actually did have a men's collection in that, right?
Yeah.
You're not limiting anybody at all.
No.
And I wanted to ask you though, was being sort of as a did you have sort of like empowering women specifically as a vibe that you wanted to give off when you started deliberately?
Yes, I think that's where it started from. Firstly, because then that is a gender that I'm able to relate to more. You know,
Of
like
course.
just from my own experiences.
Of course.
But again, I don't want it to be limiting. So then, yes, there are things for men as well. You know, so there's one shirt, for example, which is like hustler. You know what I'm saying? Like for men on the grind that are getting theirs, you know, that they're putting the effort in, you know, they're pushing out, they're doing what needs to be done, you know, and it's not hustler in terms of HUSTLER, but it's more like a play on how we spell it like you pronounce it, which is more like HUS''LA, hustler.
Ooh.
That's how we say it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's how it's said. Nobody says hustler.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so yeah, there are definitely things for men, you know, focused, you know, as well, you know, because kudos and shout out to the men out there that are getting theirs, for the men that you have interviewed. You know what I'm saying? For the ones that I've listened to, for the ones that I'm yet to listen to, you know, everybody's out there doing their thing, you know, and we got to recognize that. You know what I'm saying? Even being a woman, it's not just about, you know, supporting our women, Black Girls Magic, all of that thing. You know, it's not just about that, but everyone needs encouragement. Everyone needs support. So yeah, there is a men's collection. You know, and to be honest with you, if there is something that you would like printed, I could get that done. If you wanted something that is specific to you, I could get that done for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just trying to walk that line of what I'm able to relate to as opposed to what people want and people, you know, men are able to relate to as well.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. Definitely not limiting, but definitely an uplifting vibe for women. Because too often I have seen, you know, women, young women, and I'm just like, oh girl, what are you doing? I just wanna talk to her, you know, and I'm just like, no, boo, don't do that. Why are you doing that? You know, like women need to be strong in mind. You know what I'm saying? And again, I could definitely see it from a woman's perspective first, but I am not limiting in how it is that I'm able to view a situation. But definitely a woman first. And then I'd be like, yeah, but you know what? Maybe from a guy's perspective, this is what he's seeing, XYZ, you know, and I could really balance the odds and play devil's advocate, you know? Yeah, so
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, very cool. I like that you do have a balance striking between men and women on your whole thing, because I think it applies to everybody, not just one gender.
It does. And you will definitely find that, be it maybe just because of, depending on the culture and how a man is raised, how he is socialized, then there are certain things that will not come forth from him. He will, you know, there's more ego, there's more pride, there is more internalization about a situation. You know, a woman will talk to her friends and stuff like that. So sometimes it's about providing the resources, you know, just kind of putting it out there, you know, that people can relate to, that they can take what they need from whatever message I'm trying to, without them saying, hey, D, you know, or a guy saying, hey, D, you know, this is what I'm going through. Like, no, that's not really going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if the resources are there, if the videos are there, like, take what you need. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to know your story. I don't need to know what you're going through. But if it resonates with you in some way, that is all I need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. I respect that a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you, did you have any questions for me at all?
Yeah. So for me, it's, where did all of this come from? Like, what was your prompt?
Let's see. Just me as myself. I find that I'm always wrapped up in my projects that I have going on, whether it be photos or music or whatever, or videos. And I find that I like being alone. I like actually not talking to people that much. And even though I do like doing it, it's fun to converse with people and everything. But I found that sometimes I would start feeling a little too alone. And I would then feel like I'm not a part of the culture that I wanted, the creative and entrepreneur culture enough. So I just sort of wanted to create a way for me to speak to the people that I thought were doing great, and also giving them a platform just to sort of just to show everybody, like, these guys are doing great. Everybody here is doing great. They're working their way upwards. And I felt that Kelowna's entrepreneur, and you've probably heard me say this before, but Kelowna's culture here when it comes to creative people and entrepreneurship is very segmented and scattered. There's no sort of singular identity about this place, whereas Victoria and Vancouver is a lot known for being artsy. So I wanted to sort of bring that in. I want the interior of BC to also be a lot more cultural. So that's the whole prompt of it. I wanted to be more social, and I wanted to also give more of a melting pot sort of like culture shock to the interior of BC and beyond, of course. That's why it's called For the Culture Canada.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that what you're doing is awesome. It's incredible. And for you to singularly take up that mantle to try and bring all of these creatives together in one space, you know, like on a podcast that people can learn of all these different entities that do exist. Like, hats off to you for doing that. No, like, really.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's selfless.
You said that.
You have your reasons, but it is selfless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. So kudos to you, and thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wanted to give you an environment, a platform for you to be able to speak what you want to say, right? And so I think it's great. I think it's just super cool that we have people like you here. I think it's great that we have anybody that was on the podcast on around here. You know, I think creativity and art and all that stuff, innovation is what makes the world a brighter and better place, at least for me.
Yeah. Not to mention too the support that is given to the creatives, because then there are many things that people are doing that others do not know about. So when it is that you shine this light on it, it gives not just myself but others too who you've interviewed, or you know, who you are highlighting. You're giving them, or us, a different path. You know, you're giving us different people who might not have known. I'm just like, oh, okay, maybe there was an interest, but they just didn't know where to go, how to find it. You know, like, what location can I go to if I just want to relax, or you know, if I want whatever, I want to order something online. Like, you're now bringing light to all of that. So yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, any last words?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me on the show. And
no problem.
Thank you for everyone and anyone who has viewed my pages, who has supported my business, you know, who can relate, you know, even if it is that you're watching from a distance, you know, you just kind of tap in when it is that something is posted. Just thank you for that support.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for anybody that was listening to this show and any other shows that I put on. Thank you so much. I was interviewing Deidrean of Deliberately. Thank you so much. And I'm your host, Deepak Batty, and this was For the Culture Canada. Please make sure to rate our show if you really appreciate it on Facebook and also on the Apple Podcast app. And make sure that you follow us on For the Culture Canada podcast everywhere, and For the Culture Canada on Instagram and Facebook and all the other spots. You might even see a YouTube channel coming up soon, but hey, if you let me know in real life, or you DM me saying that you want to see a YouTube channel, you're a real one, because you got to the end of this episode. Thank you. Anyway, have a great rest of your day.